Hi, I'm Randy Hamelman of Conducive. Today I'll be talking about how you can get business process insight from your IT and operational data. You can solve a number of problems by gaining visibility into your business processes, but I want to start by highlighting 3 cases. In the first case, we talked to an online retailer that sold products delivered by third-party warehouses. One of the final steps is to send an order over to the warehouse using a secure FTP process. When they rolled out a new version of their backend software, they inadvertently broke the file transfer mechanism. While this was an issue, the real problem is that they didn't know they weren't shipping product until 3 days later when the customers started calling to ask where their order was. They invested heavily in monitoring technology, and they have a lot of redundancy in their IT systems. When this issue happened, none of their IT monitoring indicated they had a problem, but they still weren't shipping product. They didn't know about it because they weren't monitoring their business processes. The second case is a brick-and-mortar retailer. They manage in-store inventory using a business model that involves both electronic and human components. While the IT monitoring was solid, the business process was not monitored. This resulted in a few issues. The end-of-day inventory file was not always sent on time. There were frequent data issues resulting in incorrect orders being placed, and the pre-planned order and end-of-day order were not correlating, resulting in excessive inventory. Adding monitoring to their business process stabilized their inventory system, resulting in increased revenue and better cost management. The third example is a large bank that wanted to monitor delivery of services across all customer touchpoints. Banks are frequent early adopters and heavy users of technology. They have monitoring all over the place. IT operational monitoring, security monitoring, etc. They have to because they are frequent targets for theft and hacking. But not all banks are monitoring their business processes. This bank correlated data through their call center feedback and customer complaints to understand when they had customer perception problems. But they could only do that after the problems manifest. Leveraging business process monitoring, the bank was able to understand how their operational issues impacted their customers in near real time, so they could resolve issues as soon as possible. Okay, so who is this for? This is for CIOs and business leaders who want to understand how their business is operating, regardless of how IT is operating. Most companies are good at monitoring their IT systems, software, hardware, and networking, and they're good at keeping their IT systems running. You have your IT monitoring in place and it's working well, but this only focuses on the IT side of stability, not on the business process side. It doesn't give you visibility into your business processes, regardless of the IT operating status, and it doesn't show the impact that IT problems have on business operations. While IT may be running smoothly, business leaders still don't know how well the business is operating. And when IT isn't operating smoothly, the business leaders have no way of knowing how the business is impacted. So how do we get here? It's really not your fault. It's the natural evolution of technology and IT monitoring. Legacy monitoring is the typical red, yellow, green lights on a dashboard displayed on a TV on the wall. It's designed to determine how well IT systems are running. Modern solutions such as Splunk and AppDynamics help you determine the root cause of the problem and reduce the time required to resolve the issue. This results in IT systems that usually run well, but it only monitors the IT stack, in other words, hardware, software, and networking. It doesn't tell you how your business process, which relies on IT, is operating. What do most business leaders and CIOs want? Business leaders care about their business outcomes, not about IT. IT is a means to an end. Business leaders care about how the business is operating. Is the business having a good day or a bad day? How do I know I'm about to have a bad day? Is my business process broken even when IT is working well? CIOs are always pressed to provide more value to the business leaders. They want to leverage their existing investment to do this. So before I go any further, I want to tell you who we are. Conducive is a technology company focused on providing business value and impactful results from the vast amounts of data within IT systems. Started in 2006 as a software development company, we subsequently built services and reselling partnerships with IBM, Splunk, and Dry Ice. At our core, we're a technology company that understands business. We've been a Splunk reseller and professional services partner since 2012. We've worked with over 130 customers nationwide, including some of the largest and most technologically advanced companies in the world, as well as smaller companies who want our help to harness the power of their data. Okay, so what does all this mean, and what is the real problem here? For this to make sense, I want to cover 3 concepts. The first is that there are really 2 parts to stability. Those are IT operations and business process. IT operations, in other words, how well hardware, software, and networking are operating, are covered very well with existing monitoring and redundancy. You've already addressed IT operations with your monitoring solutions. Regardless, I don't know how many customers I've worked with who have told me that their IT systems are working very well, but they still don't have insight into how well their businesses are operating. Think about the online retailer I talked about earlier. Their IT systems were all green, but their product didn't ship because their process was broken. They were monitoring IT, but in this case, it didn't help. The second concept is that you've already spent a lot of money on IT. IT is working well. Fortunately, you can leverage that investment to provide the business with process and operational monitoring. The third concept is that when things go wrong, they go wrong badly. This means that when IT goes down and comes back up, businesses don't have insight into how long it will take operations to recover or how damaging the outage was. Think of the Wells Fargo data center fire as an example. Their data center went out, they had redundancy, IT was back, but their business process had issues for days. They are not monitoring their business process flows. Okay, so let's recap. For business process monitoring to make sense, we need to understand that there are two sides to stability. Those are IT operations, which you are probably already doing and doing well. The second side is the business process, which you probably aren't monitoring, and without monitoring it, you don't know how IT impacts the business. Second, we need to leverage our existing investment in IT monitoring. And third, with today's redundancy, when things go wrong, they go wrong badly. Great, so what can you do about it? You can spend a lot of time and money building your own solution. You can use Splunk or other monitoring tools to do this. Before we found iControl, we used core Splunk to monitor the oil trading process for a large company. The problem is it took months of time and effort to do this, and the project success wasn't guaranteed. Your other option is to use iControl to model and monitor your business processes, leveraging your existing IT and operational data, and you can do this in a short time frame. So how do we do this, and what is iControl and what does it do? iControl is a business process monitoring solution that leverages Splunk to give you insight into business operations. This slide is a simplified example of how iControl works. We call this our coffee slide. It models the business process of getting to work in the morning. We start with your business process. In this case, it's your normal morning routine. We define step 1 as waking up, step 2 is taking a shower, step 3 is getting coffee, and step 4 is catching the bus. And the outcome is getting to work on time, clean, and fully caffeinated. Once we've defined your high-level business processes, we define the metrics or targets that determine if your process steps or flows are working or completed. In this case, we've determined that to wake up, your alarm has to be charged, set, and triggered by 6:30 a.m. Your water has to be hot and shower has to be working. Your coffee machine has to have water and be powered on by 6:30, and you have to get to the bus stop before 7:30 a.m. When the targets are defined, we analyze your IT and operational data to build observations or data points that inform the triggers and metrics. Okay, so now you might ask, how is iControl different than Splunk or Splunk's IT Service Intelligence, ITSI application? I'll get into more of that later, but for now I'll tell you this. ITSI is focused on monitoring the IT stack, not on monitoring the business process. ITSI starts with the data and iControl starts with the business process. In order to monitor your business process, we really need to step back and understand the overall problems that we're trying to solve. Today, it's a given that organizations have a lot of data. So if you have all this data, why can't you always tell if there is or will be an impact on a client, or who and what parts of the business areas are affected? Adding to the complexity, technology is constantly changing. Today it's a server, tomorrow it's in the cloud, or bought as a service. Parts of the technology used to operate your business you may not necessarily even own, but you're still responsible for the end client outcome. To be an effective operator in this fragmented business model, you must understand the operating context quickly to make the right decisions and actions. You need to understand each process step and know where you are in that process. iControl gives you intelligent data that links or overlays your business process onto the underlying IT and operational data using your existing technology, so you know when things are going wrong and what comes next. The difference between iControl and most other products, including Splunk, is that we start by defining your business outcomes. Other products generally start with looking at your data, which isn't a bad thing in and of itself, but the data rarely comes full circle to be mapped back to the business process unless you're using iControl. iControl starts with your business objectives and maps that to your data, giving you visibility into your business outcomes in near real time. By creating a link from your business objectives to your data, iControl gives you context to understand the impact within the process, up or downstream, who or what is affected, what is the criticality, and when is the deadline so the corrective action can be taken. To recap, by giving you visibility into your business process, we manage and improve stability, risk, efficiency, and climate perception. We do this by defining your business objectives and business process, ultimately linking your existing IT and operational data to your business outcomes. Who is this for? This problem exists in all businesses, but the people who care most about this are CIOs and business unit leaders. CIOs have a hard job. They continuously have to prove their value to the business, and they have to ensure they stay 1 or 2 steps ahead of any problems. Business unit leaders only care about IT because it supports their operations. They really want to know how their business is operating and if they're going to run into any problems. iControl gives the CIO a tool to provide business leaders with insight into their business operations regardless of their IT status. Okay, before I go any further, I want to talk about a couple more case studies. So the first one is a large German bank. They had a problem with technical outages impacting their payments process. So they were missing end-of-day cutoffs, and this resulted in customer and regulatory consequences. And regulatory consequences generally involve fines. Some of the other problems are they had stuck payments that required manual effort to resolve, and they were spending a lot of time on resolving these issues. We came in with iControl. We modeled their process. We determined their KPIs associated with those process steps. We mapped the KPIs to their data, and we ultimately gave the bank visibility into their business process regardless of how their IT systems were operating. So the outcome of this is that the bank was able to identify problems with their payments process flow in near real time, which enabled them to resolve issues much faster. So they were also able to dig into the root cause of problems and fix any issues that were commonly reoccurring. So when you get visibility in your business process, you start to see issues that come up that you had no idea that they existed, and when you fix those, you get a lot of efficiency improvements. Okay, the second case study is a US-based international bank. They had problems monitoring the services that they provided, such as ATMs, their mobile app, and their website. They weren't able to get visibility into ATM outages across the system. When they had problems with customer perception, they didn't know it until after the fact. So they didn't have any statistics on the usage of the different aspects of the services. And they wanted to understand how their business was operating in near real time. So what the bank did is they used iControl to monitor their consumer services. So that's the mobile apps, ATM, website, etc. They created a service score or an SLA for each step within the process. And then they were able to monitor this and compare it against the SLA. So the end result was that they were able to identify ATM outages in near real time. They were able to identify mobile app and website issues that caused customer perception problems. And they were able to improve their internal processes. Okay, ultimately with iControl, you're going to get improvements in stability, risk, efficiency, and client perception. You're going to understand how your business is operating regardless of how IT is operating. As I talked about earlier with the online retailer, just because all of your lights are green doesn't mean your business processes don't have problems. You're also going to understand how your business process is impacted when you do have IT problems. You'll know what is important when and where it happens within the business context. With iControl, we typically see a 60% increase in stability, 30% improvement in the time required to resolve issues, and 60% improvement in the time required to identify these issues. You'll be able to more quickly assess the impact of IT and business problems. You'll have increased resilience and reduced risk. And one other area we haven't talked about yet is that you'll have a clear understanding of who owns the problem and who should fix it. What does iControl look like from an implementation and user perspective? With iControl, we start with your business process and map that to your KPIs or metrics, and ultimately back to your IT and operational data. To do this, we start with the flow editor, which you see on this screen. We sit down with you to define and model your business processes in the flow editor. Within the flow editor, we map your process to targets, KPIs, and metrics using these 6 target types, which covers just about everything you want to do with monitoring. We can map an event to a cutoff. In other words, did an event happen by a certain time? We tell you uptime, how long has a service or process been available? Count, how much of something occurred in a certain time period? Duration, how long did something take to complete? Comparison, how does value A compare to value B? And throughput, how many events happened per time period? Additionally, we can coordinate all of this with your business schedule to ensure that metrics are appropriate for the time period. We can assign owners and operators to a target so you know which people and which groups are responsible for target performance, thus quickly giving you someone to talk to when you run into problems. Finally, we map all of this to your IT and operational data. I won't show you that here, but I'll show you that in a demo or another video. Now that you have your process and target repository linked to your data, you can create visualizations for all the different personas, from the command center to the business operations to technical teams, through to the detailed drill downs. Everyone receives consistent data and metrics. This common view gives you the ability to analyze, predict, and make decisions across the different levels of data. All users measure performance in the same way, allowing you to standardize within your environment. If you're like most people, your environment changes all the time and you find it hard to keep track. Ask yourself this question: is your business process really changing? In most cases, the business process is fairly consistent, but the technology is changing. So why create views of technology when it's your business process which is important? So your top level operating dashboard provides you with a single pane of glass showing you how your business is operating. From there, you can drill down to get a granular view of your current performance, all in near real time. When problems come up, you can dig into the details to find the root cause and resolve the issue quickly. Now that you know more about business process monitoring, schedule a call with our team to find out if it is right for you. We'll walk you through our complimentary assessment to help you determine if you could benefit from business process monitoring. We're working with a number of leading edge companies who are, for the first time, solving business process and operational problems. We offer a 30-day money-back guarantee for all of our products and solutions, so don't wait. Click on the link on the webpage to schedule a meeting now. I look forward to talking to you soon.